Welcome to Liberate University. Liberate University is free educational content released for the benefit and enjoyment of all. Many thanks to our gracious family of world-class practitioners for sharing their work.
Hi, welcome to another episode of Liberate University. Today we're going to talk about gamifying life. Now, what do I exactly mean by that is, really I think that a lot of people take life so seriously. We have all these obligations and responsibilities, and yes, we go through our ups and downs in life, and, in that we can get bogged down by life. We can get weighed down by it. But really, when you think about it, on this human journey and human experience, all we have to do is we live and we die. And life is what happens in between, and we can choose to view it in a different way. We can choose to have fun with it. And even when we're going through hard times, or even when there's the chores and responsibilities, how can you make it a little bit more enjoyable, have more fun with it, and embrace it a little bit? And I say, what about making everything a game? When we were kids, we used to do that. We used to have fun. We made imaginary things happen. If we had chores and responsibilities, maybe if you had siblings or not, I'm not sure if you did, but you could make games out of it. You could say, okay, I'm going to do the dishes in this amount of time, or I'm going to, when I used to mow lawn, we had this huge land. So one of my responsibilities as a kid is I had to mow the grass, and I would try to do it in a certain time or have fun with it, or see if I could make the line super straight or make it patterns out of it while I was mowing so that it could be fun. And the more that I did that, those tasks and those responsibilities became lighthearted and they became enjoyable. Now, something happens when we grow up is that we get weighed down by these responsibilities, by our problems, by our dramas and our traumas in our life, and we forget that to play. We forget the magic and that childlike wonder that is deep inside all of us, and we take ourselves way too seriously, okay? I mean, I do it from time to time. I'm sure you do it from time to time, but if you take a moment and you step back and you say, really, is this even something that I'm going to remember 6 months from now, 1 year from now, whatever the case? And most of the time, the situations and the problems and those incidences that are happening in your life that weigh you down, that make you feel so bogged down and drained, you're probably not going to remember. And if you can take a step back and say, how do I add more gamification? How do I add more play and fun to things, And when we do that, it's not about not getting things done. It's not about not committing to our responsibilities. It's not about not being productive. But oftentimes when we add fun to it, when we add gamification, we become more productive. And, so think about different chores that you do, or different, let's say you have an assignment at work, or you have these other responsibilities. Can we still add that childlike wonder to it? Can we go through and have that mindset like I did when I used to cut the grass when I was a kid and say, okay, well, if I could do that then, can I do that now? Because really, what is the difference other than our mindset? And, one of the things that I find really effective, if we take a step back and we don't take ourselves seriously and we add and say, okay, can I add some game to this? Can I make this fun? Can I set goals that I'm trying to achieve? Can I set these little kind of standards or rules that I can play by and follow that can make life interesting, can make me more productive, can make you more productive? You know what I'm saying? And so I challenge you to say, okay, let's pull all of the responsibility away for a minute. And let's look at the tasks. Let's look at the things, because at the essence, everything in your life, whether you want to admit it or not, you called it in. Okay. So if everything in your life you've called in, on some level, you've wanted to experience it. And so we can look at it and say, okay, if you've ever played a sport, on the days that you don't really feel like playing that game, it's difficult. It's a chore. It's this struggle. You don't want to get out there. You feel tired. You feel drained. But on the days that you actually want to do it and you're excited to go and you're excited to have that adventure, it becomes fun. It becomes an experience that you embrace. And because of the power of choosing to want, You have this experience, and I guarantee on the days that you want to play those games or play that sport, you actually perform better. You do a better job. Now, if that works for like a game, like a sporting game, why would that be any different for your life? For the assignments or responsibility or the obligations that you have to your lover or your friends or your family or your career? Why is that any different? You know, and just because there might be a serious topic or a serious matter at stake doesn't mean that you can't have fun while you're going through it. It doesn't mean that you can't take it for a moment and say, I chose to want this experience in my life, and how do I allow myself to play the game? And a game set and a mindset is really realizing that there is no winning or losing, right? I know sometimes when people play, they get competitive and they really want to win, and I get that. But at the end of the day, whether you lose that game or that championship or you don't, it's okay. Right? It's not the end of the world. And whether you succeed in whatever you're trying to accomplish or do, it's not the end of the world, right? And so how do you allow yourself to take that step back? And so one of the things that I find is I look at adding a little bit of element of, as I said, I already said adding the element of play, but if you take your step back and you pull away the seriousness of it and you choose to want to do it, and then you realize that the stakes aren't that high, right? That whether that ends up happening or whether you end up getting that job or whether you don't or whether you do this or you don't, and you take that step and you say, okay, at the end of the day, I'm still going to be okay. I'm going to move forward no matter what. But if I'm going to engage in anything in life, why don't I actually enjoy what I'm engaging in? Whether it's that conversation, whether it's that talk, whether it's that chore, whether it's that project, whatever it is, and you find that spark of inspiration, you find that spark of wonder, you find that curiosity. And when you do that, you can add gamification. Because the first step of it is pulling away from the seriousness and allowing yourself to say, okay, if this is a game, like if I'm playing a board game, right? And you're playing it, the more you get into it, actually the better you do, right? And you're having fun. Just because you're playing a game night at home and you're playing games doesn't mean that you're not trying to win at Monopoly. Doesn't mean that you're not like hoping that you roll the dice and that you get the double sixes or whatever that situation is. So you can still put stakes out there. You can still try to succeed and have that. But what is the difference between play and life? That should be a question that you ask yourself. Why is it in some situations that you allow yourself to say, okay, this is a game? And in other situations, you say, well, this is life. Okay, the only thing that's different is your mindset. Okay, you can make a game out of anything. Somebody could be a garbage truck driver and they're making a game out of their route, and how fast can they do it? Or having fun, listening to music, pulling the garbage in, doing a little, that you can have that mindset. You can be teaching in school and having this fun energy that, yes, the stakes are high. You're teaching kids, you're teaching adults, whatever you're doing. But if you make it fun and you make it engaging and you're engaged in it, I guarantee the results are going to be better and you're going to feel better. And the only difference between where you view it as a game and you view it as a life is your mindset. So if you can shift your mindset for just a moment and say, really at the end of the day, where is that mindset coming from? A game, you say, oh, well, it doesn't really matter. This is just for fun. In life, you say, oh, well, this really matters because there's a right way and a wrong way, or there's consequences that are going to unfold if it doesn't happen the way that I want. But when you hold on too tight to the consequences or to the outcome, you get so attached. And oftentimes you prevent yourself from actually allowing yourself to be the true you or the best version of you possible. And so let's think, maybe some people that are watching this are actors or musicians or whatnot, and in rehearsal you can do really great. You can have fun with it, but suddenly you step into that audition room or whatever the case is, and you're not having fun because there's stakes at play. But you're playing a role, you're having fun with it. But when you take the fun out of it, when you take the game out of life, suddenly you make mistakes. Suddenly you stumble upon things. Suddenly it's not enjoyable. And I challenge you to say, well, life, what is it? You can make a game out of buying real estate. You can make a game out of advancing in your career. You can make a game out of falling deeper in love. And you can make a game out of anything you do. And the more that you make a game out of life, the more I guarantee you're going to enjoy it. You're going to take away the stress and the pressure and the outcome that you feel has to happen. And you can allow the experience to just be what it is and say, okay, I called this in. This is the experience. I'm going to embrace it. I'm going to go with having this experience, doing my best, and enjoying and embracing it. And the other benefit about playing life as a game, I've never seen somebody that plays a game that isn't fully in it. And what do I mean by that? The world stops around you because you're in that game. You're invested in that experience. You're out of your head and you're in the moment. Now imagine if you could live more of your life in that moment, like that state. Like I play soccer, and so on the soccer field, if I'm playing the game, I forget about everything else. Okay? And I'm there. I'm present. I'm kicking that ball. I'm being in those moments and in those shots and in those, and blocking and whatever else it may be. And everything else fades away. And the beauty of being present, I think we're far disconnected from our life. We're worrying so much about the future instead of being in the moment, and play and game allows us to be present. And so I challenge, even if you had this big situation in your life, the stakes are high, take a step back and say, at the end of the day, you're going to be okay no matter what. On some level, you're choosing to have this experience. And if it's worth doing, it's worth being in it. You don't go to a movie and sit on your cell phone the whole time. You say, I'm going to the movie to fully embrace and be invested and fall into that storyline. Now, how do you fall more into the storyline of your life? Have fun. Don't take it so seriously. Add some gamification by doing some challenges and goals. If you have to clean your house, instead of it being a chore, say, okay, I'm going to add some music. I'm going to dance. I'm going to add some time commitments to it to see, can I make my bed in the time that I'm, folding my laundry or whatever, while the laundry's going, can I clean my room or whatever the case may be? And you add these little challenges and you add these little aspects that cause you to step up and be present and have fun. Because I think that that's what life is all about. On the back of every bill, it says life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Instead of pursuing happiness, find it by playing more in your life. Children still learn in school. Children still learn on the playground. Just because they add gamification and fun to it, it doesn't take away from their experiences, doesn't make those classes less real for them. It just makes them have the ability to absorb more, embrace more, and be far more present. So that's your lesson for the day. Enjoy and find gamification in your life.
Thank you for being a part of this class. We hope to see you at the next one.